Camera obscura is the name of a real camera. It comes from the Latin meaning dark chamber. A similar meaning to the camera's Japanese name, shaiki, shadow shooting mechanism. The weapon in the Fatal Frame series is inspired by histories and cultures the world over, and ancient designs from thousands of years ago. The real-world camera obscura is a dark chamber with a translucent mirror. The mirror inside has no backing, which allows the image to pass through the mirror and be projected onto the outside world. The term camera obscura was used to refer to the box that contained the mirror, and was used for tasks as varying as studying lunar eclipses, as a drawing tool, and most interestingly, as a way to create illusions and spirits. A person standing on one side of the camera will have their reflection pass through the mirror and project to the other side, creating the illusion of a person who isn't really there. There are theories that such concepts might have been used in ancient times to create the appearance of gods and spirits in temple worship in Greece and China. It's mentioned in multiple ancient texts, from the Greek Aristotle, the Arab physicist Ibn al-Haytham, and the Chinese philosopher Mozi. There are multiple accounts of people in the past using this technology to create illusory effects. The modern theater took advantage of the technique as well. Called Pepper's Ghost, it's a technique like the camera obscura idea, where a reflection passes through a plane of glass and a projection appears before the audience. Used on the stage, in circus sideshows, cinema, amusement parks, and dozens of other examples, it created the appearance of a ghost or spirit, and led to a huge upswing in ghost-themed plays in the West in the mid-19th century. It's even been used in the modern day for the appearance of performers who've passed on, such as Tupac and Michael Jackson. The height of spiritualism found the concept being used in similar ways. People claiming to speak with ghosts and perform magic could use the mirror trick to make it appear as if there really was a ghostly spirit nearby. Phantasmagoria shows were horror theaters that projected terrifying images, using lanterns to make visitors think there were demons and monsters surrounding them. The camera obscura of Fatal Frame is a modern camera rather than a projector, but the name is so heavily associated with the history of ghosts that the choice still seems apt. The actual design of the camera is based on a real historical device as well, the German Linhof 5x4 camera. The company is the oldest camera company still in operation, founded in 1887. The model that the camera obscura is based on is a folding bed field camera. The folding aspect refers to the bellows on the camera, which fold up for easier storage. A folding bed camera is more complex. There's a mount that allows the lens to slide back and forth. When the player is using the camera and adjusting the view on the ghost, presumably it's this piece of equipment that allows such adjustments. The field camera is a style meant for easy portability, sometimes called the press camera, made to be lightweight, easily stored, with the consequence being it was more limited in movement compared to heavier monorail cameras. The choice of this camera was due to the team's desire for a piece of equipment that looked old and foreign, the idea being it might have been imported during the Edo or Meiji eras of Japan, when the country was just opening its doors to other cultures. The design isn't an exact copy. The team wanted it to reflect designs from the Edo period, taking inspiration from telescopes, magic lanterns, pedometers, microscopes, old-fashioned machines, which had a dull golden color, like it was made out of brass, with arabesque patterns carved into it. Why this specific Linhof camera? In the typical style of eccentric director Makoto Shibata, it has to do with his dreams. The man has been drawn to the supernatural since his youth and claims to have experienced multiple instances of supernatural phenomena before, during, and after the creation of the Fatal Frame series. During the creation of the first game, the setting and many features of the story came from his dreams, including the camera. He says the Linhof was the camera which most closely resembled the one he had in my hands in my dream. But why was a camera chosen as the weapon of the series? Many ideas were considered at first, most associated with more magical and shamanistic aspects of Japanese culture, such as the hamaya, a decorative arrow said to be a good luck charm, or ofuda, talismans typically made of paper or cloth that are imbued with the power of the kami, or gods. They even considered a vacuum cleaner or the ability to shout at ghosts until they went away. But the camera was the final choice, and the one that Makoto Shibata was pushing since the beginning of the project. The intimacy of having to face your foe rather than run from it appealed to Shibata, the idea being that you have no option but to face your fear head on. The idea came in part from the concept of spirit photography, a tradition of editing images to create the appearance of ghosts. Many spiritualists have tried to pass such images off as real over the years, with all of them being disproved over time, yet the association has stuck. In Asian cultures, there are superstitions related to cameras and their ability to remove your soul, which the producer of Fatal Frame mentions in one of his interviews. Your soul is sucked out when a picture is taken, according to tradition, and he says it makes sense to him. Cultures the world over have feared and been suspicious of reflections since ancient times. Lakes, still bodies of water that reflect the outside world, were seen as doors to the other side. Mirrors were capable of stealing your soul should you stare into them too long. One Japanese folktale includes a young girl connecting with her mother's spirit through the mirror they shared. Cameras take that concept further, not just reflecting an image, but duplicating it. The implication becomes that somehow you have been taken outside of yourself. A copy of you now exists in the world. Ultimately, why was a camera the choice of the team? Makoto Shibata explains, "Because of a childhood experience of mine, the idea of using a camera as a weapon to defeat ghosts came very naturally to me." As is typical of the man, the comment is vague with supernatural implications, perhaps implying he once faced off against a spirit himself, and a camera succeeded in sending it away.